Hi, I'm Melissa, and it's been a minute. I haven't filmed in weeks. Gosh, I don't even know. Has it been? I feel like it's been way too long, and it has been way too long. So I'm just glad to be back. Life has been lifing, and your creative outlets tend to be the things that go first, and I am no different on that scale. So I'm happy to be back and chatting with you. And I just kind of want to, I have a topic I want to talk about today, but I want to catch up and check in, see what's going on in the world out there with you guys. So if you're new, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. I'm glad you're here. I'm Melissa. I'm a licensed therapist, a mother, and a woman on her own spiritual journey. And so here at Gifts of Intuition, we explore the intersection of mental health, womanhood, and magic, and always incorporating that divine feminine power. And so today we're talking about something I think is something that every woman needs to hear, and that is that it takes a village. It takes a village. And somewhere along the way, I think many of us have forgotten that. We need our people. We need our people. Have you ever, can you relate to this? Have you ever found yourself thinking, I should have handled this myself? Or I don't want to burden anyone? Or I just need to get it together? Or maybe everyone else seems to have it figured out. Why can't I? Well, that's what we're here to talk about today. I've been falling prey to this recently, and in some ways, reaching out to you, my creative outlet, you guys are my village. Even if there's nobody on the other side of this camera, nobody ever watches this video, in essence, this outlet, this YouTube outlet has become part of my village. Even if that makes me seem a little delusional, just talking to myself. So who told us that healing was supposed to be this solo journey? Because I don't think that that's true. I don't think that that's right or fair. And honestly, I don't think that human beings were ever designed to do life alone. And that doesn't mean romantic partnerships. I mean, that's great, but we just need our people. We need our villages. We need our support systems. We need people to lean on. We are not meant to do this alone, whatever that looks like. Again, romantic or not, I'm just talking your people. So today we're talking about our villages. Not to try to culturally appropriate, but that term, our tribe, find our tribe. So village, tribe, our people, whatever you feel comfortable with. I'm probably going to just say village and my people through this. So obviously it's not literal villages. And some days I would love a bigger village. I have a village, but probably like many of you, I don't reach out to them nearly enough. I really don't. And I would love a bigger one. And that's on me to build and cultivate. So what I'm talking about is support groups, friends, book clubs, online communities. So these don't even have to be people that you meet in person, and I think these days with social media and platforms like this, a lot of the times our villages are incorporating people we will never actually meet in person, and that's okay. So again, social media, like I said, therapists, your peers, your neighbors, spiritual communities, the people and places that remind us we don't have to carry everything by ourselves. And as someone who has both needed and benefited from my own village, I want to talk about why support isn't a weakness. Support is wisdom. And we always talk about the divine wisdom here, the divine feminine wisdom, and being open to receive. And that means receive help, receive support, receive love. And so that doesn't just mean from masculine energies. That means from ourselves and from anyone else who brings it to us, being open to receiving that support. So I want to talk about the myth of self-sufficiency. I think our culture glorifies independence to a pathological point. We praise people for doing it all. And women especially are expected to have careers, raise children, manage homes, care for aging parents, maintain relationships, take care of everyone else, and somehow smile while we're doing it. We're told, you've got this. And you do, probably. And while that's meant to be empowering, sometimes it translates into, you should do this alone. Or at least that's the filter through which we hear it. And those are not the same thing. Because you got this doesn't mean you don't deserve help. And it doesn't mean you've got to do this by yourself. You know, I often say to my clients, and I need to say to myself more too, that independence isn't about doing things on your own. Independence is about doing things for yourself and knowing when it's time to bring in the resources, bring in the backup teams, bring in the village. So that is independence. It's asserting I need help, and so it's bringing the help. Independence isn't about being this island who you just do everything on your own, and you don't consult with anyone, you don't ask for help, you don't receive help, you don't, like there's no bonus medal for doing it all by yourself. There's no like, it's better somehow if you've done it by yourself than if you incorporated the help of anyone else in your life. So we're never meant to do this alone. Human beings are communal creatures. We always have been throughout history. Women, men, people, we have lived in some kind of villages or communities that serve our greater good. And birth wasn't done alone. Motherhood wasn't done alone. Grief was not done alone throughout history in our villages. Meals were not cooked alone. Children were definitely not raised alone. Women gathered. They shared wisdom. They laughed together. They cried together. They held one another through life's seasons. And somehow we've ended up isolated in our houses, thinking we're failing because we're so overwhelmed. And friend, you're not failing. We're not failing. You're trying to do the work of a village with one nervous system. No wonder we're exhausted. And again, as I started out this video, I have been, and I'll get into it, but like I have been needing my village, my people more, and I've utilized them, but I am here to say I definitely have not been utilizing them enough. So I am going to share with you how I incorporate my people, but also ways that I am setting some goals right here with you on how I want to be better about that. So yeah, we're exhausted. I'm exhausted. You're exhausted. Welcome, exhaustion. So what counts as a village? Well, here's the beautiful thing. Your village doesn't have to look like anyone else's. Your village might include, like I mentioned earlier, support groups. And as a therapist, I absolutely love support groups. I host a support group every Saturday morning. I've done it for over 5.5 years. And honestly, even though I'm there as the facilitator of this support group and there to help and guide them, they're part of my village too. Just knowing that I'm going to see these moms, these women every Saturday, there's something very grounding and lovely about that, even for me as the person who's there to provide the support. They do support me, even when they don't realize it. And so, because one of the most healing things that we can hear from others is "me too," or "been there," or "I see you," support groups remind us that we're not the only ones. And shame cannot survive in that kind of connection. One thing I'm really proud of with regards to the support group that I run, and this is not an advertisement for my support group, but my hope is that all support groups have components of what I'm about to share here. And that is this idea that we're not here to judge. We're here to ask you, is it working for you? Whatever it is that you're doing. And if not, we're here to support you as we try some suggestions, offer our experiences, and, just support somebody in their journey of figuring out what is going to work for them. It's not a group where we say, oh, you shouldn't be doing that, or, ooh, you do that, or it's none of that. That's actually not even welcome. That's not in the culture of the group. It's very much if it's working for you, keep doing it. You're doing great, mama. You got this. And as a mom hosting my own support group, sometimes when I offer that to other moms in the group, it sort of reinforces my own internal dialogue of, yeah, and I've got this too. And yeah, like I needed to hear myself say that out loud. And many of the members of the group experience that too, that when they offer support and love and help to each other, they're inadvertently giving it back to themselves, if that makes sense. So support groups are great. And you learn so much. I've learned so much just by hosting this support group. So I say this because not saying everyone's going to fit into the topic of my particular support group, because it is a postpartum support group. But if you can find a support group that fits some aspect of your life that you are needing some help or support with, I really encourage looking into support groups virtually or in person, whatever you can find, whatever works for you. Then there's obviously the one-on-one version of that, and that is therapy. And that's what I do for a living. I'm currently not in one-on-one therapy, but I have been many times before I ever became a therapist, and many times in my professional career as a therapist. And if at any point I feel like I need it, I go back to therapy. So I just say that to be, authentic and transparent with you. I'm not currently in therapy. However, it has been a huge part of my own personal mental health and spiritual journey. So look into individual therapy, whether that's telehealth like I provide, or one-on-one, because many people are like, I don't want to talk to a screen or a person on a screen. I want to do the in-person thing. I get it. Cool. Go find that. Go get that one-on-one help and support. Professional help can look like therapy, but it can also be, other things like doctors, coaches, dietitians, spiritual mentors, or some, spiritual leaders of some sort. There's tremendous strength in saying, I need support, and being willing to make space for that. I know a lot of people are like, I'm so overwhelmed. Therapy just sounds like one more thing to do. And I get that wholeheartedly. Again, like I started out this video saying, our creative outlets tend to be something that sort of falls off the list of things to do when you're already overwhelmed. And, getting help for yourself is often close to that too. So it is often discarded. So I hear you and I see you, and I've been there. But I encourage you to please try and make space for that if you feel like that might be helpful for you, or check it out. Maybe it's not. Then there's friends, so not the friends who only show up when things are easy. I'm talking about your people are your friends who are there when it's messy. So those people who are beside you in life when things just are in the trenches and you need someone to get down in the trenches with you. People who can hold that space without trying to fix everything. Those friendships are sacred. And that's huge. Friends who feel like they need to fix can be really hard to connect with. So I really want to encourage you to find people who just say, ugh, I'm here. How can I support? Or let me send you food. Or let me take you out. Or let me just, I'm just going to listen. I don't have any advice. I can't relate, but God, I love you. I'm just here for you. I'm a big proponent of friendships where you can say, or they can say, how can I best support you at this time? Do you need feedback? Do you want feedback? Do you just want me to listen? Tell me how to be here for you, and I'm going to be here for you. That's huge. Because we don't always want someone to solve our problems. Actually, a lot of the times we don't want people to solve our problems. And many of you may think that that's actually what therapists do, and that is not what we do. But going back to friends, like I prefer friends who, when I'm really going through it, are not saying, oh, just do this, or you should do this, or try this. Try this is okay, but like more so just like, that sucks, man. I'm sorry you're going through it, is huge. Or, I've been through something similar, and you're right, that's really hard. How can I support? How can I help? Something like that. Anyway, all kinds of friends are important. All kinds of friends make up our village, our communities of people. But when things are really tough, I prefer those friendships where they're not trying to fix me. That's my job, right? And I just want them to love me through it. Yeah. I mentioned social media, platforms like this, sure. But there's all kinds. So I'm in like Facebook groups where I will never meet these people. And I know Facebook, I'm aging myself there. But I don't know. Instagram groups, there's not as much interaction with the people who follow. So I just, Facebook groups, for those of you who don't know, I love all things Halloween. I've mentioned it here before. I am such a spooky boo, and I love watching people shop for Halloween stuff, decorate with Halloween stuff. So I belong to many YouTube groups and Facebook groups pertaining to decorating for Halloween. And that may seem silly, but I end up getting into these conversations with people that, again, I will never meet, but it's I love seeing what they found, or where they found it, or, or letting them know, I'm trying to find this thing, and there is a thing I'm trying to find, and I'm asking for support from my spooky Facebook community to help me find it. But anyway, again, that makes me feel supported even in some non-important area of my life, but important to me. Feels good. So I acknowledge that social media can be an utter dumpster fire where it welcomes in so much comparison and judgment and negativity. So, I'm right off the bat, I'm acknowledging that, but I just want to say that there's a lot of opportunity for kindred spirits to gather together over common interests and support each other, entertain each other, be an area in the social media world where you can be I get you, you see me. Because in my life, there aren't a lot of people who love Halloween the way I do, but sure as heck, there are a lot of people in these online communities who love Halloween the way I do, and I feel so seen. And it's fun. It's just fun. So let's be honest. Let's invite social media in the healthiest ways possible. Okay, because again, it can be very unhealthy, as we all know, but it can definitely provide some connection and validation, information for sure. Careful with the information. I say that because it's not always accurate, but it's there. Humor, most definitely, and just community. We all need our communities. So some women discover that they have conditions or issues that they never realized, but they heard somebody else talking about it on some social media platform, and they're like, wait, I relate to that, and then they start digging into that more. So, I talked about in my previous episode about my own personal journey of figuring out the perimenopause process. And honestly, I've learned a lot about my personal perimenopause process or journey, I guess, through other people talking about theirs, because it does look so different for many people. And there's my dog in the background. But I don't relate to other people's journeys who are my personal friends. Theirs looks different than mine. And so if I just compared myself to people in my everyday life, I may not think that I'm in perimenopause, or I may not have looked into it to find that out for myself. So just hearing a variety of experiences of symptoms has helped guide me on my own personal discovery. So many women have found that they have ADHD through social media platforms, or OCD, perimenopause, like I talked about. Also postpartum challenges, still to this day, many women feel like or think that the only thing you can experience in postpartum is postpartum depression or baby blues. And it's like, there's so much more to that. There's postpartum anxiety, postpartum OCD, postpartum psychosis, not to frighten anyone, but there's a varying level of mental conditions that can form in the postpartum period. And so, if social media wasn't there to educate, like I'm doing right now, you may never know that that's a postpartum thing that could happen. So anyway, I feel like there's a lot of good things that can come from your social media community if you choose your sources well, and it's just, sometimes it's good to just be like, oh my God, I'm not crazy. Other people feel this way too. People I don't know, probably never meet, but that still makes me feel like I'm not alone. So again, these are not real life relationships. Most of the time you will never meet these people, and they don't replace real life relationships. We still need human interaction, but it can open some doors for you, and it can offer you the connection that we all need. And I'm saying this as somebody who, I work from home, I do telehealth. So most of my daily human interaction is on a computer screen. I have my family and my kiddo and, friends, but most of my day in and day out interaction is on a computer screen with my variety of clients. And I'm okay with that. But there is a need for tangible people, sharing space with people. And then clubs, looking at clubs and other kinds of communities. I had mentioned book clubs. I'll admit I am not much of a reader myself, but I did join a spooky book club. So we choose a book title that is more of the spooky or horror genre, and I purchase it in like from Audible or something like that. There's varying platforms, but I personally like to be read to. I like to listen to it while I'm driving, or cleaning or folding laundry, whatever it is. I like to listen to the book, and I am okay with that. I think I had a lot of self-judgment about that for a long time, to admit that I prefer to have somebody read to me than to read the book myself. And so anyway, I've enjoyed that, because then we meet, the Spooky Book Club meets to chat about the book. And it also encourages me to keep listening and to stick to it, because I know at some point we are going to talk about it, and I want to be in on the conversation. And then let's see, what other kinds of groups and clubs. There's obviously like church or spiritual groups. There's women's circles, yoga classes, which, you go to a yoga class once, you're probably not gonna like connect, but if you find a class that you like and you go regularly, you start to see familiar faces, and that's how it becomes more of like feeling like your community rather than just this class you attended. There's running groups. I joined a running group in my past, and I still have a really good friend who I know through that, and she and I ended up doing races together, and so yeah, I've made some friends doing that. I'm also in a relay group. Well, there's relays going on every year, but I join that particular thing once a year, because it's the local one that I do. And that is it's exhausting, the relay race that we do, but it's so amazing to feel like I'm part of a team, especially since, like I said, I'm here in my house all day, most of the days, so it's nice to get out and go do a group activity like that, that's challenging, and you're cheering each other on, and you're getting through it together. It's so cool. Let's see what else, like volunteering. Volunteering in your area with a variety of things can be a great way to connect with people who are like-minded. Not just helping other people, but you meet others who are like-minded, which can be a great opportunity. Hiking group. I did a hiking group too. I did that app Meetup. I joined a hiking group through Meetup. And actually the running group was through Meetup as well. But the hiking group was really fun. And I met some really cool people through that too. And again, it's one of those things where it's like you gotta go a few times so you see the familiar faces, and then you start to like exchange numbers and meet up outside and whatever. Or they're just happy to see you when you come back, and that's such a great feeling. What else? Crafts. If you're into any kind of craft, there are definitely craft groups that you can meet up. I know my mom is into knitting, and it's, knitting is a thing you largely do on your own, but there was a period of time where she was going to a local yarn store, and they're just, if you walk in there, there's women in there just knitting on any random day at this like common table area. It was a great little group, and I'm not a knitter, but I know that like it would be great to have other people offer you suggestions or like tips and tricks, and so you'd improve your own craft that way. So yeah, so joining some kind of crafting circle, I guess you could say. And I think I also want to add too that like the conversations in these budding friendships, they don't have to be these deep conversations. It can be chit chat. It can be, surface whatever, but still it's human interaction, and it's still connection. It works. It counts. Not everyone has to be your deep conversation people to be your people. And yeah, so sometimes it's just like going back to the knitting, like, hey, are you using that that yarn? Could I use that? Or like, or hey, how do I do this knot or whatever? Again, I'm not a knitter, so why I picked that topic, I do not know, for example. Sorry. But, you know, looking back to my running group, you know, we compared shoe brands and like nutrition supplements, like the gels or the water, you know, the powders you put in water. Like we compared like quality and how it made your stomach feel or didn't make your stomach feel, hopefully. You know, so, or we were like, oh, have you ever run this race? This is my favorite race. Like you should try it. And then you end up doing more with these people, you know, and it grows and it's fun. And then, I don't know, it's just, there's something cool about seeing a familiar face when you go to do something that you already love doing. Support matters. It truly, truly matters. And it improves our mental health. Support lowers our stress. It decreases shame because there's others, you know, at the Halloween thing, right? Like some people think I'm crazy because I decorate with Halloween decor all year round. But, you know, there are plenty of people out there who are like, oh, I love what you've done with that. And that's like, oh, yay. You know, I'm not so weird after all. I'm totally weird and I fully embrace it. But it is nice to have people who are like, oh, I love that. Me too, you know. Support increases resilience. And perhaps most importantly, it gives us mirrors. You know, it allows us to see ourselves in other people and allows us to be seen. And people who remind us that, like, I don't know, if you ever feel forgotten, it's like there's somebody there who's seeing you, you know, and there's a lot to be said for feeling seen and heard and a part of something. And you know, even in a social media post, just having somebody say like, I see you, or like something, you know, not that we're out trying to like get as many likes as possible, but just having somebody like something or comment or like say that's cool or good for you or whatever, it goes a long way. It really does. And we borrow from other people the energy that they're putting out when we don't have our own energy stores to work off of. You know, I recently got my nose pierced. I don't know if you guys can see it on the camera because it's so tiny, but I just did that, and it's something I've been wanting to do for a long time, and I've debated, like, you know, should I do it? You know, I think they're adorable. I think they're beautiful, and you know, at my age, I'm not looking to get anything like massive. I just wanted it for myself, and I think it looks super cute. But I know that a lot of people have opinions about a nose piercing on someone my age. And, you know, will I still be seen as professional in what I do? And it's like, you know what? I think I've come to a place in my life and in my career where I'm like, I know I'm good at what I do. This little sparkly thing on my nose isn't going to change, you know, my effectiveness in the world. So I went for it, and it hurt at first. I was a little scared about that. It hurt, but it was so fast, and now it's great. You know, it's healing, and it's doing its own little healing journey. But I'm so glad I did it, and I posted about it, and, you know, there were people who were like, I love this for you, and oh my gosh, you're so brave to do that, and it's so cute, or whatever it is. And like, it just, I don't know, it felt good, because there was part of me that was like, you know, I know people have very strong opinions about piercings and tattoos, and I do have my tattoos, but none of them are like visible to the naked eye, like on camera. So this is like the first thing that's like there, except sometimes you can see, I have a shoulder tattoo. Sometimes you can see that, but it's not very frequently, because I don't usually wear like my shoulders exposed. But sometimes you can like see like a little bit of it. Oh, my microphone thing just fell off. Sorry. This is real life, guys. Here we go. Let's fix that really quick. Okay. Hopefully that wasn't loud in everybody's ears. Assuming there's anybody out there listening to me right now. Hope so. Anyway, yeah, so I want to also go into the divine feminine, because if you know this channel, I always want to incorporate divine feminine. I love, love, love bringing our divine feminine energy into everything that we do. And so I want to say that one thing I do love about divine feminine energy is that she's not isolated. Divine feminine energy is not isolated. I say she, it, whatever, is a relational energy. She gathers. She nourishes. She understands interdependence. And historically, women gathered fires, gathered for births, gathered in kitchens, gathered in sacred spaces. Women have historically gathered for a variety of reasons to work together to support each other. Wisdom was shared around these fires or in these kitchens. Stories were shared. And no one was expected to know everything. No one was expected to suffer alone. And perhaps our loneliness today isn't because something is wrong with us. Maybe it's because we're longing for something ancient. Maybe our souls remember the village and want the village, are calling for your people, calling for the system that supports us all. So if you don't have a village, what do you do? Okay, well, I know some of you are watching thinking, that sounds wonderful, but I don't have that in my life. Well, okay. First, you're not alone. First and foremost, you're here. I am happy to be part of your village, should you want that. And second, villages are built. So let's slowly build a village, and it may be awkward in how you go about building your personal community. But it's one conversation at a time, one support group, one coffee date, one Facebook group, one book club, one comment section. You don't need 20 people. Sometimes 3 people can be life-changing, Just start somewhere. Put yourself out there. Let people know you're interested in some kind of connection. You want to meet. You want to whatever. And let's be honest. Sometimes the village is just women in Target who see your toddler melting down and give you that look, that knowing look of like, I've been there, honey, no judgment, just solidarity. And honestly, I think that some of our greatest therapy sessions have happened in Target. If you know, well, there are plenty of people who will look at you like, shut that kid up. But that sucks, and I hate that. But we've all been there too. We've been the people with the screaming kid who people are like, oh my God. But my hope is that if you've ever got the screaming kid, you're also getting some looks like, let me grab that for you. Oh, hey, you dropped this. I gotcha. And I invite all of you to be those people for the women out there in the world who are struggling, who look like their hands are full, their lives are full, their emotions are full. And just give them that look of like, I got you, girl. I'm here for you, sister. What do you need? How can I help? Let me carry that for you. So however you go about doing it, build a community. One person, one conversation at a time. You do not need to feel the need to do this thing alone, this life, this parenting, this being a woman. You don't have to do this alone. And there are, again, no extra points. There's no trophy for doing it alone. You don't have to earn support. You don't have to be worthy of it. You already are worthy, okay? You don't have to prove you're strong enough to do things on your own. We know you can, but you don't have to. Strength isn't isolation. Strength is allowing yourself to be loved, to be helped, to be supported, to be a part of. And perhaps the greatest wisdom of the divine feminine is we belong to one another. Healing happens in relationships. Wisdom is shared. And life is never meant to be carried alone. It's not. So if you need support, reach out. Join the group, whatever that group is. Join it. Go to the class and go back again. Be a familiar face. Look for familiar faces. Give them that little nod of like, oh, hey, I recognize you. You know, go to the class. So again, if you're new here, welcome. And if you've heard something that was helpful to you today, which I hope you did, please keep coming back. Be a part of this tiny but growing community. Yeah, I would love to hear from you in the comments, so please comment below and maybe find your people here. You know, whether it's me directly or other people in the comments. And if you haven't found your village yet, don't give up. Keep going. Your people are out there. And they may be looking for you too. They may be needing what you have to bring to the community. So thank you for being here. And again, I am Melissa. This is Gifts of Intuition. And until next time, please take care of your mind and your heart. Listen and trust your intuition. Honor your spirit. And really lean into the divine feminine push and need for community. Thank you for being here. You take care. I'll see you soon. Bye. Hi again. I wanted to pop in here really quick because I realized I did what I often do, which is I say in my video, oh, I'll tell you later. I'll tell you more about that. And then I never do. I never come back to the point. So I wanted to share what's been going on. So this is going to be my afterthought for this video. So I have been working a lot, feeling burned out, and I know a lot of you can relate. Just, you know, being a mom, having responsibilities, wanting to make sure everything is taken care of, but also like, you know, from a financial standpoint. And so I've been working a lot, and I love what I do. I choose to do my support group. I choose to do this YouTube channel. You know, I choose to do these additional things in my life that I love so much. And I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world, but I'm not going to kid myself. These are all additional things that I do in addition to a very full-time schedule with my job. So I'm making some changes. I'm excited about that. I'm reducing my workload at one of my jobs, increasing it in other ways with other stuff, but like stuff that allows for more flexibility. So, and I share all this because I do feel like this is on the topic of my village. I am not doing this alone. You know, I have a really good friend who I do hope you guys will meet someday. We do plan to do a video together. She's a fellow therapist, and she's got a lot to offer. So anyway, more about her later. But I've really been connecting with her, and we've been supporting each other through making some career shifts. So that has felt good to feel supported, and like I'm not totally doing this alone. And that's helped. And then, reaching out. My mom is a huge part of my village. She's one of my biggest supporters in my life, and I lean to her a lot. But when it comes to career stuff, I have a lot of therapist friends, so I've reached out and said, hey, this is what I'm looking to do. Any feedback, any thoughts, any suggestions? And I've gotten some great support and love from my therapy friend community in that. And they're just my friends, they're therapists, but they're just my friends. And then I've been a good friend of mine who I haven't seen in years came to town recently, and that was so nice. That was so nice, and like filled my cup, my soul cup for that day. It was so nice to see her again and just, hug her. And it's like one of those situations where you don't know how much you miss somebody until you see them, and I mentioned the nose piercing. I reached out to my sister in Missouri, and I was asking her because she has hers done, and I was, getting feedback. So I've been trying to reach out more, just to share news, not necessarily for anybody to like help me with anything, just to like be connected, to my people, and it's really been helpful. And I've been saying to people, oh, I haven't filmed my YouTube channel in a while. I've just been so burned out. And I realized that it's not the YouTube channel that burns me out. It's just I'm burned out. So it's just the idea of doing one more thing. But I do know that doing this channel, this is my creative outlet. And I know that I need to do this for myself because this actually recharges me. And so anyway, it's just kind of connecting to the people in my life and feeling like I'm connecting to people, even if nobody ever sees this video, which I hope lots of people see this video, but I just wanted to put that out there, that's kind of what's been going on. There's a lot going on, health stuff with family, and just work changes, and there's just a lot. There's a lot going on, and so I've been trying to connect with my people and get support, and I do have it on my to-do list to do more things with my friends. So I'm trying to plan some stuff and get some things on the books here. My birthday is in September, and the new Practical Magic movie, Practical Magic 2, is coming out in September. So I know I want to get some of the girls together for a little witchy movie extravaganza thing there. So stuff like that I'm looking forward to, and go get out in my community. One thing, I have season tickets to our local soccer team. And so, as I mentioned in my other part of my video, it's like, go to things again, keep going, become a familiar face, see familiar faces. And that is a little community that has been growing over the past couple of years as our little soccer family. So that's still an evolving thing, but just for a while there, our local soccer team wasn't having home games, so I hadn't gone to one in a long time, and they recently just had one. And this month, we're coming up on August here, and in August there's so many home games, so I'm really excited to get connected to that community again. So anyway, these are just some cool things that have been going on in the wake of my own burnout, and how I've been trying to, reconnect and get recharged by the people who love me and who I love. And again, in the video, I mentioned my little spooky groups of people out there on the hunt for Halloween stuff. Like for me, Halloween starts July 1st. I mean, it's really all year round for me, but not July 1st, July 5th, So it's like once 4th of July is done, it's like, okay, the stores are starting to stock up on the Halloween stuff. And I feel like when I go out into the stores and I look for that stuff and I see other people shopping for Halloween stuff, I'm like, these are my people. They don't know it maybe, but these are my people, So anyway, I just wanted to come in and share that because I did say I was going to talk about what's been going on, and then I didn't. I didn't talk about what's been going on. So anyway, I'm feeling better. I'm glad I've made this video. Now it's time to edit it. So anyway, thanks for being here, and see you next time. Bye.